Samson began to downplay. He began to become very choosy about what he shared with spiritual authorities. And that became hazardous to his own soul. See, one thing is very, very essential in Christian life: fellowship, godly fellowship. God placed authorities are essential. Even if the authorities are wicked, respect because God has placed them. Saul was not a kind man, a generous man, a loving man. Dangerous he was to the soul of David. Yet, under his authority, David began to draw closer to God. That became the training ground for David to become a king who would not just rule a nation, fight for a nation, but love God's people and lead them into God placed, you know, God's promises. So, why does God graciously place spiritual authorities in our lives? So that you and I, brothers and sisters, may be instructed. Yes, parents in many families fail giving spiritual instruction. Proverbs is actually a parental book. It is the father who is teaching the child as a young person about the greatest thing in life, that is God's wisdom. Mothers do fail, pastors do fail, but that gives us no license to not find somebody, because if you're earnest enough and run to the Lord will either transform the authorities through you or without you, but will bless you through the authorities and your submission. So God places authorities so that you may be instructed. Samson was instructed, but it is also to warn you. Samson was warned way ahead of his danger that you are not supposed to marry an uncircumcised Philistine. Did you not find anybody in our own God approved community to warn? They are also there to rebuke, and Samson has nobody to rebuke him. When you do not have somebody to rebuke you gently and with all goodness, my brothers and sisters, you know for sure you're going to take a path that may not look very dangerous like Samson, but equally harmful like that path that Samson took. Who is there in your life who rebukes you? Who is there that tells you that you are doing wrong? David had Nathan. Samson and Solomon had nobody. Can you see? Can you see what they did? Samson, the strongest man, Solomon, the wisest man, did some really, really foolish things and became so weak that tiniest of desires they couldn't overcome. So, God places authorities over our lives to instruct us, to warn us, to rebuke us, to discipline us. To discipline us. Many churches do not follow church discipline. Matthew chapter 16 very clear, 18 very clearly tells us the church discipline is an integral part of church life. They do not. And even in families too, the discipline many times it is either ungodly or it is absent. Who do you have in your lives, brothers, who discipline you? They are there to protect you. They are there to encourage you. They are there to pray for you. Samson, in a way, by removing the hedges God has placed for his life, he by hiding things from his own spiritual authorities, he began to pursue a path that has become hazardous for him. Not immediately, but at the end. There is a way that seems right to a man, but the end leads to destruction. Till the end, you are always in a honey trap. You know what the meaning of a honey trap is? Honey trap is usually a particular kind of technique that is used, particularly in the military arena, in the military zone, when wars and battles are going on, generally a woman is used to, in a way, entice, and to the extent that they even seduce some of the key people in the opponent's army, so that they may suck in all the essential intelligentsia or the information that they need. Dear brothers and sisters, the lion that came charging at Samson couldn't accomplish the task that the honey trap that was set before Samson could. Be careful. Some of the times, for me especially, and I say this to you as well, sometimes the power of Satan comes subtly in the sweetest of temptations he offers to us. So you and I have to be careful. How do we be careful? Go back and reverse these points, all the 3 points that we looked at so far. Number one is this. The first point is this: don't cross the hedge. because there's a honey trap. That is a trap. It's not just honey. Don't cross the hedges. Don't cross the boundaries God has kept for you. Which means, first of all, for sure know what ought or what life you ought to live as a young man, as a young woman, as a husband, as a wife, as a father, as a mother, as a sibling. What life you ought to live. Read the scriptures to know. What does the Holy Bible say about a man, about a woman, about marriage, about life, about work, about leisure, about pleasure? Read and be instructed. Number two, how do you avoid this path, backsliding? Don't let pleasures define life for you. Let the purpose of God define life for you, for that is the greatest pleasure. Yes, we need pleasures in life, or we are made to pursue pleasures, but pleasures in themselves are not the end, they are the means. God is the end. So don't let money, don't let love, don't let friendships, don't let what you call a lifestyle define life for you. Let the calling God has for you as a believer to belong to Jesus Christ define life for you. And if you're not a believer, today is the turn. Come to Christ. Third thing, don't downplay spiritual authorities. Submit to them. in in God's time, open up, ask the Lord for grace, open yourself up to them, not to everybody, people whom you think you have seen over a period of time. Trust to open yourself up and share. And it should be done technically, it should be done scripturally, not technically, in the context of a local church, in the context of a God or God centered family. But if you do not find, reach out. There are avenues God has for you. But do not think you're all wise, you're all smart, you're all godly, you're all pursuing a path that is the best for you. You don't know, brothers and sisters. There will be a honey trap set up for you, and it will be hazardous to your own. So may the Lord help you as you think upon this and enable you to repent if you're, if you're following a path that is hazardous and if you're backsliding. Let me pray with you.